No, ladies and gentlemen, all is running smoothly. We're just going to get you prepared for what's to come. We've had ourselves some very interesting news come out. Good old Sam Bankman-Fred is looking at going to jail for 100 years. That's a little bit lighter than what the other guy got with 11,000 years, but we'll be diving into that very, very shortly. But today's live, ladies and gentlemen, is just going to be strictly charts. Why? Because we've got a lot of movement happening and we've got news announcements coming out later on at 3 p.m., which is the consumer confidence. And we have got a plethora of inflation data coming out this week, which in essence is going to put the nail in the coffin as to why oil's price right now is really going to be a pain in the backside for us and the bigger picture moving forward. Word on the street is that the Fed's done hiking rates. But if they're data dependent, they're only going to be going by the data. So if inflation is going to keep on going up, we ain't going to get no rate hikes, ladies and gentlemen. They ain't going to stop nothing. They have to really squeeze the economy. And with the robust employment market and the manufacturing sector sort of doing okay, we're kind of like in a bit of a taboo situation with the Fed. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, let's get with the flavor. Here we go. So, what have we got? Well, I've got a little NASDAQ coming up on the screen right now. But firstly, let's just dive into what is actually happening across the board. First, we need to pay close attention to dearly beloved Dixie. Now, Dixie is starting to show a little bit of a promise right now, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming back into the 200 EMA. And the problem that we've got, guys, is they are leaving sort of clues behind. Look, clue 1, clue 2, 3, 4, there's profit taking, which means that assets across the board will be going in the opposite direction of dollar. So euro should be up. Pound should be up. Well, pound is taking a battering, to be quite frank with you, ladies and gentlemen. It's now suffering a very, very bad low. We just quickly go into the pound itself. You'll see look, we've got this consolidation, but it hasn't stopped dropping ever since the meeting from last week. We kind of shared this projection out to the members of the channel, and they would have taken advantage of a very interesting 173 pip move to the downside on the premise that they were actually going to hold inside of this range to see further price action to the downside. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we need to dive into what's going on with Bitcoin, because I know you guys are here for BTC. Some of you might be here for a little bit of forex, just having a scour across the board. And I'm seeing it's quite interesting given that we've got lots of order flows coming in right now. We've got a lot of movement. NASDAQ has been taking a bit of a battering, especially from last night. But looking at Bitcoin's price action, we have got a very interesting zone that we need to pay close attention to. Word on the street is that now Bitcoin's going to be heading to 25. Is that a surprise, ladies and gentlemen? Go to the 1 hour time frame. And what do we have on this time frame right now? Check this out. We've got this green vector candle region right here. Now, if the news comes out and it's sort of showing that people aren't feeling so optimistic about the economy, then we're going to have this situation with the dollar, okay? So if we go on the calendar, we can see 3 p.m. today where we got consumer confidence coming out, projected for 105. Now, this is what you've got to be mindful of, okay? If consumer confidence goes down, investors are only going to do what? They're going to seek the safety of the dollar. If consumer confidence is up, what are investors going to do? They're going to go to the dollar. So good news is good news for the dollar. Bad news is good news for the dollar, which kind of makes us see that things might actually be looking like they're going to continue to the upside for dollar. We need to go into other assets. Remember what we spoke about yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, with dollar dominance and dollar yen. We go over to yen right now. Here we go. You can see dollar yen is leaving us a little bit of a clue behind. So without diving too much into it, if you were to look into the chart right now, you'll see it for yourself on what they could be preparing for, okay? But news will be out very shortly, so you're probably going to see some price action going sideways for a little bit with no real activity. I'm looking at NASDAQ across the board, and you can see we got some flavor going into NASDAQ right now, and we're going to see a nice little move. They could be just bleeding out for NASDAQ to break down even lower, and I'm looking at NASDAQ, and NASDAQ is going to pretty much tell us where we are. The next interesting point is this green vector candle region down here. Look at this. You've got the 14,639 and the 14,721. If NASDAQ picks up steam from this point, now they had a little bit of a run up today, but then they've instantly pulled that back, okay? Now, we're going to see if they can actually break down further today because everyone is just digesting the idea of what's going on with the interest rates, okay? We're going to this. Look at this. Where is it? Here we go. What is the article? There we are. Treasuries. Sell off as investors fret over long periods of high interest rates. Well, we know that's going to be the case, ladies and gentlemen, because the yields are still holding out. We've got a very important zone on the yields right now, where if they hold this range right here, yields are going to keep on moving up, ladies and gentlemen. If the bonds keep going down, the bonds are going to keep going down. And that only means, what the hell is that in my face? My God, what was that? Anyways, I just had a fly hit me in the face. So the 10-year bonds, as long as they keep moving low and they're closing off this gap that we've got right here, maybe a test of 93 could be on the cards, which could only suggest that bonds are just getting so cheap right now that it could bring an influx of capital coming in to pick up bonds on the cheap. But the problem is that interest rates are going to go up again, but we have got the prone movement of inflation coming up again, all because of oil. Now, as you can see on the oil market, it says here that energy fund managers predicts major upside for oil equities, okay? But there has been a little bit of a disconnect with oil and the stock market, which tells us that investors are seeking the safety of oil, okay? So we go into the oil market itself and we can see oil, what's it doing? It's consolidating sideways, all right? Nice little pullback. They're preparing for what, ladies and gentlemen? They're preparing for a move higher, and this is what they're doing right now. They keep on doing it. Move up, consolidate, shift out. Move up, consolidate, shift out. All right? As long as oil can stay within this range, ladies and gentlemen, oil is going to start looking towards that $100 a barrel. All right? That's the problem we've got. Now, if oil does sustain this $100 move up to $100, we know that the CPI data that's going to come up for the Fed next time, that's going to show that inflation is going to go up. And what does that mean? Well, interest rates are going to go up. It's simple as, all right? Now, with oil going up and interest rates with the prone of going up again, Jamie Dimon said that most of the recession that we could be going into is not because economics, it's geopolitics, all right? What's going on in Russia? What's going on in Ukraine? You've got Canada and India having a bit of beef with each other. It's like all countries are starting to step up and bring flavor to each other and causing a little bit of attention on trade. We've already got China and, of course, Japan with a slowdown in their economies. That's the world's factory. And if that bad boy's slowing down, don't expect the US to continue because they need China to be pumping. And if China's not pumping, that means they're not buying US bonds. That means bonds ain't going down and the US government ain't going to be doing well with not much cash, which means that the yields themselves are going to keep on moving up. And that's going to be a big problem for us. Super inversion on the yields, ladies and gentlemen. 4.5% on a 10-year and 5.12% on a 2-year. Guys, these are stupid inversions, man. And they're saying it's a bull market. Well, let's just go into the S&P and have a look at what's going on over there. Well, we have ourselves a little bit of a story with the S&P right now. So far, so good. They're coming into close to one of our zones, and we've got a little gap down here on the S&P, 4,303. And why do we need to focus on this? Because this is going to dictate what Bitcoin does, ladies and gentlemen. Bitcoin might not move straight away. Let's just have a look at where we are on the Bookmap. Here we go. So we've got liquidity coming in, 576 Bitcoin orders at 26,180. Zoom out, where we at? Trading below the VWAP itself. They sold above the VWAP, and now we've got all this liquidity coming in. Oh, my days. Oh, my days. Oh, no. No, please stop. Okay, good. That's good for me. That's good. Okay, so we got 1,119 Bitcoin orders at 25,000. So it looks like 25,000 could be on the table, you know? Will it happen today? Well, something mad would have to happen to the market to suggest that it's going to go down towards those zones straight away, because that is a little bit of a big move. The book is imbalanced to 25%, which tells us that limit buys are coming into play. Zooming in on Bitcoin's price action, you can see we've got the recovery of the blue vector candle region right there. And quite frankly, if Bitcoin does annihilate this 25,985 region, Bitcoin will be coming in to attack this next imbalance zone right here. Could people get a little bit hesitant with what's going on with Crypto King right here? Good old Sam Bankman-Fred. Slap across the face right there. 100 years. How mad is that? My God. But in even different news, Taiwan's looking at regulating cryptocurrency. That's a good thing, and it's also a bad thing. I think cryptocurrency regulation is bad for the enthusiast of cryptocurrency who wants to be completely decentralized. He doesn't want to, use all of his he doesn't want to give his data out. But look, if you're a trader, Bybit's now shutting up shop for guys in the UK. And if you want to trade, you have to start using KYC. You got to start giving them your information. And that is the sad truth of these things. All right? As much as we want to be in that new monetary policy with cryptocurrency and China, given that they've got a problem with their currency and the way things are going economically, cryptocurrency looks like it's a good thing. Maybe Taiwan starting to step up with regulation could be on the grounds of adopting cryptocurrency, but maybe that's not going to happen anytime soon. So we've got to be very careful with that bad boy. All right. Now, for some of my investors, most of you that are in cryptocurrency are probably in cryptocurrency. What do you do if oil is going up? All right. And markets themselves are looking like everything is dropping. So risk on assets ain't where it's at right now. Okay. I've spoken to you guys about this before regarding ETFs. Okay. Now, ETFs are a good thing because they're not as volatile during, how can I put it, recessions. If you go and have a look at some of them right here, you can see, look, Vanguard S&P ETF starting to pull back a little bit, but it's still holding around the $400 mark. We look at it on the weekly, and through all the madness that's been going on, you held your money in an ETF, you would have been sat with this sideways price action. Of course, when the market crashed in COVID, it all just shifted out. Optimism was there. Everyone was putting their money into money markets, okay? But you can see that this ETF is balancing out the books. Now, there's a couple of things you can do when you do invest. During times of recession or economic downturn, health, food and beverage, aerospace and defense stocks, they're always going to be working, all right? They can't stop functioning, all right? You won't expect that much movement in aerospace or in the health sector, but as long as your money's working and it's staying in relatively low volatile environments, whilst you're absorbing the recession, your money is all good, okay? But don't get twisted. Look at this. Since all of these interest rate increases, money markets is where it's been. And look at how they've been behaving. They've been keeping prices sideways, sideline, keeping money short. Now, big fund managers are coming in and they're starting to say, you know what? We've got ourselves a little bit of a problem. We need to try and take advantage of some volatility. That's where they start turning to oil. And this is where they start looking at hedging themselves in gold. So check this out. Gold is being picked up right now, okay? If you're going to hedge yourself in gold, well, gold is going to give you the true idea of where investors' heads are at, all right? Because it's a safe haven. Right now, they're loading up. So this is what we would call the hedge of gold. They're now starting to load up on gold. It's marking down lower and lower with the intention that if the recession does come into play, everyone's going to rush to gold. The same guys that have been loading up on gold right here will see gold's price move back up, and they're going to be the guys that sell as it's moving up because everyone's rushing to gold. So they've effectively hedged themselves. Are we seeing the clues in the hybrid system? Yes, we are. Look, you got vector candle regions right here. That's a zone. Take the midpoint of that vector candle, happy days. All right? So that's where you know that things could be getting interesting at that point. We zoom out on gold and you can see bright as day. Just look, this is on the 4-hour time frame. Just look at what's going on with gold. They hedge themselves all the way down, and then they realize the return back up. Things are starting to be a problem. Interest rate increases, happy days, bull market. Now, man, they're selling into retail. Now they're loading up for the hedge yet again. Okay? So keep that in mind when you're considering playing gold. Think of how an investor, an institutional investor, is going to be thinking if he's looking at the bigger picture of the economy and he thinks it's going to the dog. Okay? Looking at the actual calendar itself this week, GDP coming out, unemployment claims, and good old Fed Chair Powell is going to be having a conversation. I won't be going live for that one because he doesn't really tell us anything that we haven't already heard, okay? But it's a big news announcement, and they're going to start saying something, all right? Now, Bank Holiday of China is going to be coming into play on Friday, which does mean there's going to be a little bit of volatility, but we have the core price index. So what I'm saying to you is there are many instances where price could be manipulated and sent in a direction which is going with the narrative, which is lower. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't like the sound of me saying that it's going lower, but that's where we are right now. we're in a bear market. It's going down. Market's correcting. Like, indexes bounce moderately, but we've got a correction in place. Volume is starting to come up on the NASDAQ. You got no stocks breaking out. 132 are down on volume. 141 are up on volume. You've got 0 stocks breaking out. And when stocks are not breaking out, that means institutional investors aren't loading up and trying to make their money on stocks. Okay? So hypothetically, when we say breaking out, we're talking about stocks that could be creating a cup with handle, for example. Something like this. They go retrace, breaking out. That there is the breakout zone. If none of them are doing that, then we have no stocks that are building momentum. We've got no optimism in stocks. We've got no one buying it. So people are actually selling. That doesn't mean you can't short stocks. Don't get twisted. You can short stocks. So just keep that in mind. Going into the time right now, where we at? So we got 2:15 right now, just looking at things across the board. Let me just go have a look at euros. So euros coming back down again. Nice little V-shaped play from this morning. Going into dollar yen, climbing up, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a look at Tesla. Tesla has opened up nicely. We've got a gap up here on Tesla. But the news announcements that's going to be coming out very shortly could actually bring a little bit of a problem and force dollar dominance to come back up yet again, which it is doing so right now. And that is a problem for us. Going into the yen, we can see the yen has fully closed off that gap with the potential of them coming down even lower. Strong yen, weak dollar. Weak yen, strong dollar. Just align your day with this sort of thinking, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Always have this in mind. What's yen doing? What's dollar doing? What are the yields doing? What are the indices doing? That's going to tell you where everything is going, because that's where smart money is at. Okay? Now, let's just quickly go over to this Bitcoin. We're seeing Bitcoin pull back a little bit. NASDAQ bringing in some, it's not even doing anything, to be honest with you. Going into the smaller time frames to understand Bitcoin's price action, it's trading sideways. NASDAQ's gone down, NASDAQ's gone up, but progressively working its way down low. We could get a little bit of a retrace, but I want to be paying attention to what's going on the order flow with Bitcoin. So let's just have a look at this stuff right here. Let me expand this bad boy out. What have we got going off across the board, right? So this is Bitcoin's order flow right now. Okay, now this is important. Okay, what is this doing? Wow, go away. I don't understand why it does this to me at times. Here we go. All right, so Bitcoin's order flow is coming in. Oh, man, let me just change the time frame on that. There we go. Right, so 25-day chart, where we at? We're currently trading towards the VWAP. Remember, we got that point of interest down here, which sits at the 26,038. Now, Bitcoin has spiked up at the high of the day, which gives us the 26,318-ish. Now, we've got interest down below. Again, like I said to you, 25,800 is a point of value in Bitcoin. So just be mindful if you're going to try and play the idea of Bitcoin going up. All right? It won't go up for long, but it's progressively working towards value because people are stacked down here at 25.8. If Bitcoin is going to continue higher, then Bitcoin needs to be moving up down to this zone to move away from it, okay? But you've also got to take into consideration what's going on here. This is the Glassnode. And as of late, we've looked at it, and it's currently at a point where it was where traders or people in net unrealized profit and losses of Bitcoin, they're sort of being fearful. It's now managed to go up a little bit, but not much. But I'm basing it on fear right now, okay? People are starting to get a little bit fearful with Bitcoin's price, all right? And we look at this across the board, and like I've said to you before, I'm expecting another capitulation event in Bitcoin because you can't have the NASDAQ and the S&P dropping so aggressively to the downside and Bitcoin ain't doing much, all right? It's a light market. There's nothing going on with it, okay? Look at Ethereum. Remember what we said about Ethereum on that daily? Where's the daily? Here we go. Where's the daily on Ethereum with that vector candle region? Look, man, they've come and tapped that zone. They've moved away from it. They're consolidating sideways. We're going to be thinking that they're going to clear this range. Yet Bitcoin hasn't done that just yet. And it's on its way to doing it. So focus on Ethereum for fast moves. And then look at Bitcoin. Usually it's going to follow suit, because there's more money in Bitcoin than there is in Ethereum, all right? You can't just move that much money straight away, all right? Even going into XRP, look, XRP is now coming into very important areas, and you just take this zone down here at 40 cents. They're resisting that 50 EMA. If XRP can't even get above the 50 EMA, you're looking at nothing but sales, ladies and gentlemen. Am I being negative? No. Have I got a reason to buy? Take away the idea of, oh, just load up as much coin as you want, prepare yourself for the next bull run. Fine, do that. I get that. But from a day trader's perspective, I'm looking at the chart. It's going down. Now, if a holder maintains the idea as a day trader, he's going to avoid getting himself into tricky situations. If a holder is just buying and forgetting about it, he wouldn't even need to be watching these sort of things about cryptocurrency. He doesn't need to care. All right? He just needs to look on his phone. Bang. He's got a bit of interest on Bitcoin. What price is it? Oh, I remember when I bought it at 21. Oh, I remember I bought it at 41. He's just going to buy, yes or no. That's it. But for someone that is a holder and maybe a trader, or someone that is just looking at getting into Bitcoin on spot, thinking that it's going to start going up from this point, cool. We've had many instances where Bitcoin has moved up, okay? You've got this instance right here. Bang, Bitcoin moves up. Take some profit, man. Comes back down. Wait, vector candle recovery. Okay, is everything looking good? First vector candle above the 50 EMA. Bang, load up again. Try and take advantage of the next break. Look left, you got a vector candle recovery region over there. If you're a holder, you want to just... How can I put it to you? Be short term when you're holding crypto. Take the money out. You know? Do something with it. Treat yourself. Leaving it in there and claiming glory that you're still holding on because you don't give a damn about Bitcoin and you're going to hold on to it, fine. But are we in that stage of evolution with the financial markets just yet? No. Until we start buying oil with Bitcoin and it's declared that the US is going to be paying for oil with Bitcoin, we're not there yet, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, that's the truth. We've still got that nasty toilet paper that we're using, okay? That's still about. And that doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon. Adoption might be coming into play, as I said to you earlier on with the Taiwanese crypto guidance on regulation. That's fine. But the truth of the matter is, Bitcoin ain't going anywhere, and neither is fiat. It's going to be a long time before that comes into play. All right? I might be pissing on your fire. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. That's the truth. But there's too much dirty money getting tied up elsewhere and not enough Bitcoin being used for it. All right? They keep clamping down on the players that are using Bitcoin on the black markets, but no one's clamping on the markets that are being used, or dollar being used in other markets. Well, that's another story, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Quickly, let's get into the market open itself in 6 minutes' time. Let's have a look at the order flow of what's going on with altcoins. So what have we got? We've got Lever. Okay, what's going on here? USDT, let's have a look at that. Well, we've got a nice little movement. Oh, 0.0177. Quite a tricky asset. Not so long ago got listed. We've got nice little pump dump scenarios right there. Lots of liquidity trapped inside of this area. Okay, then, cool. So it looks like it's basing out in this area. I would expect it. I'd want to see it drop down further for me to assume that it's going to start coming back up into these vector candle regions. But looking at the volume itself, it's not much. Look, 10, 11, 12, 13 million. Not really doing much for me, so I'm not really interested in that. And coin, USDT, let's have a look at that bad boy. Here we go. So that's taking a bit of a tumble to the downside. Look left, you've got vector candle recovery regions right there not so long ago. There we are. We got that region right there. So between 21 and 16 cents, if they successfully break this region right here, we're going to see an attack to the downside on that basis. Let me just go to Solana for a second. Solana is coming away from certain zones that we had before, but we're going to look to see a test of that $18.28 region with the break of $16 on the cards, which could be something that happens with Solana. Quickly going over into Waves. Waves likes to move. I like the way Waves moves, but it's very tricky. Coming away from the 50 EMA. This is all on the daily time frame, ladies and gentlemen. So the longer they're moving away from the daily, the greater chance that we have about them coming back into the wicks and taking advantage of those regions at 128. Quickly going over into the altcoin boss list. What assets are moving up? So we got ARCs. So here we go. Nice little vector candle wick on Qcoin. So just be careful of that bad boy. They might want to come back and recover some of that. Nice little look. It's a pump and dump scenario. So just be careful with these sort of assets. When you see these sort of structures coming into play, they're very difficult to trade in principle, but it's literally pot luck. You know, you're just placing a bet and hoping for the best. Now, with that being said, VITE coin, not really liking that. I've got drawings all over the place from back in the day. Lots of accumulation happening down here, which is pretty interesting, which could be a sign that we could be getting another bout of volatility coming into the chart to the upside. Looking at C98 doing well at 3% and then 2% COTI. We've got THETA doing something as well. So all altcoins are basing out below the 50 EMA, but I like to look at the altcoins that are losing, okay? So we've got DAG USDT taking a nosedive. AMP, I'm not going to really focus on that. Alice Coin. You've got Engine, we just spoke about, ICP. They're all doing pretty much the same thing and just dropping out. Now, because they've dropped down so significantly, just be careful because altcoins can pump back up again. You're looking for the collection of blue and green vector candles to appear at the lows. We're starting to see it right here, and it's basing out inside of this zone. So logic would say that we would expect them to try and finalize the vector candle region inside of that zone right there at 0.04. All right, but I always like to look at assets that are dropping because that tells me that's where they're buying it. Okay, they're not buying it as it's going up. They're selling into people as it's going up. Keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. All right, cool. What we got here? Let me just go over here. Go back into Bitcoin. So again, Bitcoin not really doing much. Five-minute time frame. Let's have a look at what they're doing right now. Bitcoin stalling out. Not really seeing much. Got a big imbalance down below. The high block is suggesting we've got lots of short liquidations coming up into play right now. So let's go to max liquidity, have a look at that bad boy. What we got? So currently 27,550, got $3.6 billion worth of short liquidations. Let's understand where traders' heads are at right now by just looking at where they are buying and selling. All right. So what have we got? Here we go. So lots of longs that were open. $36 million worth of longs opened at 26,731. They've been liquidated. We've got some $27 million worth of longs opened at 26,389. They've been liquidated as well. And we've just had some more longs open, 10 million at 26,306. They're about to get liquidated. And these guys up here at 26.4, they've been liquidated as well. Now we've got all these high margin positions down here. We've got a bit of a liquidity down below, but I'm looking, because we've got high margins in both instances and we've got an even distribution near enough. Shorts to long liquidations. You've got 240 shorts and 195 long liquidations. The zone is trading sideways. So what we got to look for is we need to see an explosive move, a trigger move, a move that's going to get retail traders to do something. Bitcoin's failure to break above the daily opens pretty much set the tone for lower price action, ladies and gentlemen. The market is now fully open. Let's get with the flavor and have a look at where we are across the board. So NASDAQ's taking a tumble. Bitcoin is currently coming into action right now. I'm just looking, lots of liquidity coming into Bitcoin. And we've got a big order. 25,000 could be on the cards very soon, ladies and gentlemen. 1,119 Bitcoin orders at that point. And it looks like they're placing it and keeping it static in the chart. But you got to remember, they could remove that order anyway. So that order could disappear. So those of you that are using Bookmap, just be mindful of that. Seeing a little bit of commitment around 26,700, where we've got this area here of liquidity that hasn't been filled, but it's being placed. Looks like an algorithm, because we've got a couple of players or one player, single entity, or a number of players placing orders at 26,440, 26,480-ish, and then 26,710. We've got these orders right here, which could pretty much give us the heads up on what Bitcoin could do. But we're looking at the chart right now, and we see just big orders right there that were cancelled. Now they're being placed, coming in right now with 300 Bitcoin orders. They're moving away from the VWAP, ladies and gentlemen. I would want to see a sharp drop on the VWAP for a little bit of a retrace back up into it. But I think with the bigger picture, NASDAQ's taking a tumble to the downside. I think Bitcoin's going to be following suit and rolling down lower. Just be careful. There's vectors at 26,132. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, mad love and respect. If you are new to the channel, check out the Traders Reality website. We've got a free course on there. And if you're not a member already, get involved with the guys over there on the website. All right? Please trade safely, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll check in with you tomorrow. Peace.